Hi, Jackie here, sharing a layout for A Little Magpie using Simple Stories Fun Time Collection. I'm mainly going to be using pattern paper from the 6x8 paper pad and a few scraps that I've already cut into. This is a good layout to use any scraps anyway. You don't have to use like full pieces of paper like I've used. So I'm just cutting a selection of the 6x8 papers down. I think they're roughly 2 inches or 1.5 inch strips. The red stripe one, I do it so it's I think the red and the blue star. So this one is 8 inches long. Yeah, not the 6-inch width. So it just stretches a bit further along the page. You'll see as I put the pattern papers together what I'm aiming to do. So I'm going to start by just assembling my layouts, my strips on the layout. That last one, because I know it was going towards the bottom, I did do it at one inch, not 2 inches like I'd done previously. So I'm just going to put those papers away. So I'm just going to start randomly just putting the pattern papers down the left-hand side and offsetting them, as you can see, down the page. I think I fast forward it in a minute, so you'll see the start of the design I'm aiming for. I do have 2 of each of the strips, and I think I've got 5 pattern papers. Yes, I've got 5 pattern papers, and I've got 2 each of the strips going down the page, and I do them in the order that as you can see on the layout. So when I've done that, I do back my photograph, which is a 6x4 photograph, which was printed on free prints. And it's got a border. I do have to trim. The top border seemed to be a bit slightly larger than the bottom one. So when I'm backing it with pattern paper, I do trim it down slightly so it looks more even with the other 3 sides. So that's my layout, the idea of my layout coming together. And before I stick anything down, I've got this piece of pattern paper and it's got these lovely words on. So I've decided to use these as part of my title. So I'm going to cut some out. I'll just start cutting them out. You won't see me cut every little thing out, so I cut them out and then I do just trim around the edges. So there's a very slight blue border around all of the pieces that I do use. I end up cutting 5 words out, but I only use 3 on my layout. So I'm just trimming them down so they've got a very slight edge. I do start off with my big scissors, but then revert to my small, what are they called, busy bee scissors? Those yellow ones on the right hand side. So I'm just figuring out which words I want to use. I decide my title is going to be called the main attraction, not the main attraction, main attraction, which I'm going to put at the top, and then I use the one that said rides, which goes at the bottom. So I wanted to put some colour to my white cardstock, so I'm using dried marigold in Tim Holtz Distress Oxide inks, and I'm just using the packaging technique. And as you'll see shortly, I end up covering every single spot of this ink over. I don't know why. I do this all the time when I do packaging technique. I always end up just covering it over and you can't see it. I do end up putting splatters at the end so you can see some of the colour coming through. So here I am just putting my strips down, and I'm just going to distress the edges of the long edges of each of the strips and then just layer them down. I do curl up some of the edges, but then they get flattened, as you'll see along in the process. But I just start off with this orange one, then I do red, then I do the one that's got some arrows on, then the blue, and then the stars, and then I repeat that process down the page. And again, I'm just offsetting them, roughing up some of the edges with my nails, as well as distressing using my tool. And then I will be sticking them down just in the centre because I want him to be a bit more free flowing, if you will. But once I've got all my bits and pieces on, they are actually stuck to the page. So I think it's around about here when I realised that the packaging technique is just going to be completely covered over. But never mind. So here I am. This is my last strip to put down at the bottom. And then I think I go back and I just talked about before about putting pattern paper, layers of pattern paper behind my photograph and trimming that down. Now I choose a green one and a blue piece of paper. So I was going to use that one, and then there was a really nice bright green. I used the green one, but I didn't use that because I thought it was a bit too close a contrast of colours, and I chose a pink one, which I think I did off camera. So I just put the green one round. This is where I am. I'm just slightly trimming the photograph down, and then I will back it onto the green paper. Again, leave a slight border, distress the edges of both the pattern papers I use, and then add 3D form to the back, again to give it some definition on my page. So I was thinking about putting a third layer and using that blue, but I decided not to. So I'm just going to put some 3D form pads on the back. I'll link all the products that I've used in the description box below. And basically it's going to go, my photograph's going to go there on the left hand side with the title Main Attraction at the top. Again, I'm going to add 3D form to the back of these word pieces I've cut out, and they're going to go at the top left of my page. So first one's going to be obviously main, and then attraction goes underneath, and then I do put the rides down the bottom underneath the photograph. At this stage I thought I'd stuck my photograph down, but I haven't done yet. Well, it doesn't matter, it does get stuck down. So I'm just going to add my title here. While we're just watching this, don't forget to go and check out all the collections at the shop, and on the website. I'll leave a link to this collection and also a link to all the other collections that are coming into the shop. I think Sarah gets various collections at least twice a week anyway, and she's regularly stocking up. So if there's something that you see that's out of stock, please go back and check it, a week or two later, because I'm sure she will get it in the stock unless it's out of stock from the manufacturer. So I've just got my bits and pieces pack, and I've just emptied it up to the right hand side on my desk, and I found a few bits that I want to use around the page. So here it is where I've decided, I've realised I've not stuck my photograph down, so I'm just using my T-square ruler to try and get it straight, relatively straight. If you watch my layouts, you know that most often than not I use my ruler and it's still not straight, but I'm okay with that. So I found one of the tags. So I'd had the 12 by 12 tag sheets, and I've cut all those out. So I found one of the tags that I'm going to use on the right hand side. I do end up using two tags, but I use this one on the right hand side. And I don't know if you've seen before, when I do my tags, I always put a 3D form pad just under the circle at the back of the pad, and it just gives it a bit of definition, so I can get the thread or the ribbon in through the loop. So on the background, I just felt that because that was the tag I'm using is quite dark, I needed some more pattern paper to the right hand side. Now I was going to use a die cut, but I decided just to trim some of the star paper and line it up. And as it's underneath, it doesn't need to be, nobody will know whether it's not a continuous piece of paper. And it just makes it a little bit of a definition behind the darkness of the tag on the right-hand side. So I'm just going to put that on a slight angle. And then I've also got an arrow from the die cut pack that I'm just going to put at the bottom. I can't see what I'm doing here. Yes, so I'm going to add... Oh yes, I'm going to add the tag underneath my photograph. So I'm just going to trim this tag down. This is where I'm going to put a bit of journaling underneath. I do have to prise apart the left-hand side of where it says rides. It does go back nicely. And then I was able to tuck the tag inside. Now, my previous layout using this collection showed us at the entrance to Toy Story Land at Hollywood Studios, and this is one of the first rides that we went on in Hollywood Studios, Slinky Dog, which is one of the best rides, I think, in Hollywood Studios. So I've just got the 12 by 12 sticker sheet. I'm just going through that and just finding some word strips that I want to use and various stickers. I did start putting stickers down before I press record. So I'll show you close-ups towards the end, but I have put two like flag banners at the top. One that says wow at the left-hand side and the other says fun just above to the right of the attraction. So I'm just going through it and trying to see if there's any more words I want to use. I choose this one that says remember, but I couldn't figure out where to put it. So that goes back on the sheet. And then this is where I decide to add more splatters to the right-hand side of the pattern paper, so at least you can see some of the ink splatters. So just using some dried marigold and sprayed it with some water to dilute it a bit, and then I'm able to, and my paintbrush, and I'm able to just splatter it around the page. Now I am going to find some trim. Again, I'll add the link in the description box below where you can find this trim. So I just wanted to use, decided to use two different colours, not lengths, two different colours of trim. I do cut this green one too long, so I cut that in half, and I just do a double knot at the top and then trim the ends down. I'll show you in a minute. And then I use the golden one at the bottom tag. And then off camera, I know I've done this off camera, I've used some enamel dots that are in A Local Magpie collection. So I'm just going to trim these down. I do end up sticking them down with some wet glue as well, so they're not free flowing as they are on here. And so I add some enamel dots. I also add some black star stickers. So here's a close-up. So there's the stickers that I've used from the sticker sheet, and the other one on the right-hand side. And then also a little tag there that says best day. That's from a die cut. The word stickers at the bottom. I do add some journaling, which you will see in the close-up shortly at the end, and you will see, if you look over onto my Instagram, you'll see more close-ups of this page. So thank you for stopping by. Please like and subscribe to our channel. If you've got any comments, please leave them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Once again, thank you again for stopping by. Till next time, bye.